right, up next, Jeremy Mace. As CEO of NewFire Media, his team deliver systems to optimize online marketing spend and build successful digital campaigns on the DoubleClick Bid Manager and Campaign Manager platforms. Jeremy was recently elected to Aiken County School Board and has served on advisory boards for the North Augusta Chamber of Commerce Small Business Council and Aiken County Steering Committee. Raised in Kansas City, Jeremy moved to the South after a brief stint as a college student and comic book publisher and began working as a graphic designer and marketer. He resides in North Augusta, South Carolina with his wife and 2 children. Please welcome Jeremy Mace.
Good morning, everybody. I want to tell you guys a couple stories. Once on Facebook, I shared what I originally thought was an innocent maze. Turned out it was a collection of Nazi symbols. Never have I deleted something so quickly. This person felt so guilty and gave them a Facebook anxiety that they never go back. A mother who thought she was having a personal message with her daughter revealed her true feelings for her son-in-law, ruining her relationship with her daughter on her daughter's Facebook wall. Okay. I love this one. I asked the middle schoolers to cover their ears real quick. When we had first started dating, my then boyfriend asked me to send some naughty pictures. I was new to Instagram at the time, and as far as I could tell, it was just a photo editing app with some cool filters. I wanted to look as good as possible in the pictures, so of course I snapped a few, chose a nice filter, and sent them off. A half an hour later, I got a text from my best friend. "Why are you naked on Instagram?" Well, I guess that best friend liked the pictures because he ended up marrying me. I am Jeremy Mace. I am the owner and CEO of NewFire. I am a member of the school board, but most importantly, I take Graham, where's Graham at? Is he back here? There he is. And my son Noah, who's in 8th grade, every morning to middle school. And I get to have conversations about how 8th graders use social media all the time. One of the things, we have some funny stories here, but social media also has some negative connotations. There's some bad stuff that happens. We're going to dive into that a little bit. And then we're going to talk about some positive stuff. I've actually got why we're addicted to this stuff in here. And then I get to show off, make you all wait through this, and show off the new Riverside Village logo and branding. And we've got a great video that my team has helped me develop. So I'm going to try to cruise through quickly because I know you guys want to see that video. On the negative side, this is the sad part. Cyberbullying is resulting on social media in suicide of our teenagers. This is a horrible situation that we've got right now. So what I would implore all of you to do that have kids or have grandkids is have conversations with them about what they're doing on social media. If you don't know how to monitor this stuff, there are lots of tutorials, lots of applications out there. You can get help, and it's not rocket science. You can dive in and have their messages sent to your phone. My son, every text message goes to mom. Mom doesn't address every text message, but she knows what's happening there, right? I've got all the logins to my kids' stuff. And that ties into this next little point I wanted to go through. These are some interesting facts on marriage and social media. 1 in 7 people said they considered divorce because of their spouse's questionable activity on Facebook or Skype or Twitter. Facebook is cited, and this was a couple years ago, in 1/3 of divorce cases. And I think it's actually used in almost 80% of divorce cases as a site of evidence. 58% of those polled knew their partner's passwords even if their spouse wasn't aware of it. How many of you guys know your spouse's passwords to social media? Wow, okay, not a lot. All right, interesting. Ross, I'm glad you and I got that. I know Kim's password. She knows my passwords. It's not just personal life that can be affected too, guys. It actually can affect your business and your role in it. This is a great one. I once made a ridiculously foolish mistake of telling my coworkers I was running out for a quick bite for lunch and before diving into a daunting project. Instead, I headed out with a friend for a quick boat ride on the lake. I was working remotely at the time and thought no one would ever know. Unfortunately, it was also a gorgeous day and I just had to capture it with my hipster filter on Instagram. My boss liked the post. which in boss language meant she didn't like my post one bit and wanted me to know that she knew I had lied. There's also a problem with wrong access, right? If you give the wrong people access to the social media accounts at business. Think expletive, it's Friday. Can't wait to get out of this stub hole. That was from the StubHub official Twitter account. I don't think that employee lasted much longer after that day. IHOP retweeted Hillary Clinton and it caused so many issues they had to delete the tweet 3 hours later. It was a huge PR flub. American Apparel's, this one's awful. American Apparel's, you guys know American Apparel? They make shirts you can buy. They got some stores and stuff like that. You can order them online and put your logo on them. Their social media team posted an image of smoke from an explosion to celebrate the 4th of July. But almost immediately, people recognized the photo as the iconic image of the Challenger explosion and responded with shock and disapproval. Pretty bad. How many of you guys have ever stalked anybody on LinkedIn? Checked out who you're going to talk to? This is a key thing you guys need to be doing, okay? I know the guys at Spherion know how to do this. You've got to, if you're getting ready to hire somebody or you're getting ready to go meet with somebody like a prospective client, or you're getting maybe to appoint somebody to the new head of the Bazaar Women's Committee, right? Not the bizarre one. You don't want anybody that is bizarre. You want people that like bazaars, right? So you've got to go in and check out their social media profiles. This is critical. I am very proud of the culture that we have at NewFire. I've got a great team and we all get along very well, and adding a new person to that team is super important. So before I do that, this person may be skilled, they may be able to do everything that I need them to do, but when I go to their social media profiles and I see things that are inappropriate or completely misaligned with the company's goals and what our values are, certainly not going to be apt to hire that person. So as you guys are reaching out and navigating, you guys should have checked me out on social media. What is this joker going to talk about, right? How many of you guys have at least one social media account, like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, something like that? Is there anybody that has zero social media? Graham, awesome. That's because I know your mom, and she's not going to let you have any. The other thing, guys, is you have to protect yourselves. Check your security settings, okay? There are some people that are concerned about who can look at your photos, who can look at your information. And you don't have to be afraid of social media or afraid to post something. You just have to know what to pick and what to choose. And again, YouTube's a great resource to find out how to check those settings. Right now, I like to talk a lot about comic books and movies. I have some very strong opinions, right? I maybe don't like the latest movie here. I don't like this TV show, and I'm going to have some really strong opinions about that. Most of the world does not care about that. Sorry, guys, I'm getting a little excited there. Most of the world doesn't care about that, but my friends that do, I have them in a group, and they're called the comic book guys, and those are the people that I share that information with, right? If I'm going to share a post about what my kids are doing, and I'm going to post pictures of my kids that I don't want other people to see, maybe I want to be private, or Kim said, hey, we're headed to the beach, let's share with the grandmas and the aunts and uncles, but we don't need, obviously, me, my great physique on the beach, maybe not be appropriate to show on Facebook, right? So I control what images go where, and that's not rocket science. Again, there's those settings that you can pick, and I strongly encourage you to do that. I talked about using it to your advantage. Another way to do this is to create Google alerts, right? So NewFire, our team, has done a press release to get people excited about the video today, right? And so what we've done is we sent that out, and then media outlets are going to run that press release. Our name is in that press release. Well, I get notifications when NewFire Media shows up anywhere on Google. It comes into my email so I can check it out. Make sure people are saying good things. It's perfect for somebody like a church that needs to protect their image and protect their identity. So you guys should have a Google alert. Anytime the church is mentioned anywhere, you guys see where that's at. Does that make sense? Cool. All right. I've got examples from my life that I shared. I also check out my children's teachers at school and see what they're posting online. Youth leaders at church, I want to make sure that I'm, know who I'm having my kids with. But the problem is we spend so much time on these platforms, right? My wife multi-devices through about 3 hours of TV late in the evening to kind of decompress after a full day. She'll have the TV going. It's probably something funny or maybe HGTV or Food Network. She has her phone up right here and she's either playing a game or she's looking at Facebook, and she's got the computer up over here that has email. And so, she looks like she's plugged into the Matrix and all she is doing is laying in bed, right? How many of you guys are guilty of multi-devicing while you're sitting there? Yeah, it's constantly engaging your brain, right? And then we're irritated with our kids when they come to the dinner table and we ask them to put their phones down, when most of the time our phone is in our pocket and we're certainly going to check it if it buzzes, because our lives are so important that we've got to be engaged at all time. How many of you guys have an Apple Watch? Anybody have an Apple Watch? Constantly dinging. And I hate this. Hey, I'm over here. Hey, there's stuff going on in the world. Hey, and it's tapping your wrist. It's like somebody pulling me out of a meeting. I'm throwing you under the bus, Ross. Ross McDaniel is the best account executive ever. We're in a meeting and I'll see him check his watch and I'll be thinking, dude, the meeting we're only in this 5 minutes and I'm fairly entertaining. You do not need to be thinking about leaving the meeting already. But what he's doing is he's got a message, right? And he's concerned about the company and concerned about what's going on, or maybe it's his wife and he's got to see what's going on at all times. So why are we addicted? I'm going to read you guys something. I'm trying to keep our time down, but this is a guy named Simon Sinek. I don't know if you guys have heard who this gentleman is. He's got some great videos. He's a motivational speaker, a marketing consultant. He's got a British accent, which I will not try to replicate, but I want to read you guys something about social media addiction. And Graham, you really need to listen to this, okay, buddy? You got me? You too, Robbie. I know where you live. So you have an entire generation growing up with lower self-esteem than previous generations. Through no fault of their own, they were dealt a bad hand. Now let's add technology. We know that engagement with social media and our cell phones releases a chemical called dopamine. That's why when you get a text, it feels good. In a 2012 study, Harvard research scientists reported that talking about oneself through social media activates a pleasure sensation in the brain associated with food, money, and sex. That's why we love to count the likes. It's why we go back 10 times to see if our interaction is growing. And if our Instagram is slowing down, we wonder if we've done something wrong or if people don't like us anymore. The trauma for young kids to be unfriended is almost too much to handle. Dopamine is the exact same chemical that makes us feel good when we smoke, when we drink, and when we gamble. In other words, it's highly, highly addictive. We have age restrictions on smoking, drinking, and gambling, but we have no age restrictions on social media and cell phones, which is the equivalent of opening up the liquor cabinet and saying to our teenagers, hey, by the way, if this adolescence thing is hard, you can help yourself. An entire generation now has access to an addictive, numbing chemical called dopamine through their cell phones and social media while they're going through the highest stressful time of adolescence. Why is this important? Almost every alcoholic discovered alcohol when they were teenagers. When we were very, very young, the only approval we need is the approval of our parents. As we go through adolescence, we make this transition, and now we need the approval of our peers. It's very frustrating to our parents, very important to the teenager, and it allows us to acculturate, I don't even know what that word means, outside of our immediate families into the broader tribe. Highly, highly stressful, anxious period of our lives. Some people, quite by accident, discover alcohol, the numbing effects of dopamine, to help them cope with the stresses and anxieties of adolescence. Unfortunately, this becomes hardwired in their brains for the rest of their lives. And for a lot of us that are my age, it is already hardwired. I've been plugged into these systems for 10 or 15 years, right? It's ingrained into us. When they suffer significant stress, they don't turn to a person, they could turn to the bottle, and in this case, turning to that device. Social stress, financial stress, career stress, it's pretty much the primary reasons why an alcoholic drinks. But now, because we're allowing unfettered access to these devices and media, basically becoming hardwired, and we are seeing that as they grow older, too many kids don't know how to form deep, meaningful relationships. At NewFire, I have 8 millennials, okay? Usually 2 or 3 interns, all about that same age. Can they have their phones out at meetings? Absolutely. Do I monitor what they're doing on social media? Absolutely. Am I their parent? No, but I am their boss. And I do need to know what's going on in that office. I need to know what they're talking about and what's happening, right? If normally they would walk into the office and share something that's going on in their lives, they may not do that for this generation. It may show up on social media, and I need to be where they are. Things can get balanced, things can be imbalanced like this, but it's not all bad, right? Alcohol is not bad in moderation. Too much is. If television is cocaine, social media is crack at this point. You guys need to be careful with what you have, and you need to watch out for your kids. Nothing wrong with it. It's just the imbalance in your life. All right, let's talk about some good stuff, okay? The good, news alert distribution. How many times have we seen social media come to the rescue when an emergency is taking place somewhere? A hurricane, a shooting, a war that's erupting in the Middle East. Before, there was no opportunity for somebody on the ground to get immediate information to large masses of people and for that to turn viral. So we can help when things happen, and social media also becomes an extremely great conduit for donations and giving, and we know that people want to help. Turner Simpkins, my business partner at NewFire Media, has a nonprofit organization called Press On that works to cure childhood cancer and childhood leukemia, and they have been able to raise, where are we at, $8 million at this point? $8 million, okay? And a lot of that comes from some big donations and donors, but a ton of it comes from social media and from the internet, right? These things can help do good. Increased teen awareness. Although some parents see social media as detrimental to their children, it actually does some good to have social media. Teens want to be aware and informed just as much as adults. Using social media allows those teens to follow organizations and causes that they believe in. Makes them feel like they're part of something, even when they feel like an outcast in society. Connecting and celebrating all of those niche groups. It's great to see social media work for a church group, like a youth group, or the football players at the middle school. I mean, they connect with these tribes, and they're able to communicate that way, and social media enables that. I talked about Press On. There's a great social media influencer guy. I think was 15 at the time, and on March 15th, he was on a call. He was a social influencer, so this guy is on Twitter a lot. He's 15, he's on YouTube. He's making good money from distributing his content, whatever he's talking about, fashion or whatever videos that he likes and things like that. It's kind of odd that that is now actually a career option for a 15-year-old to make real money doing that. But he was on a call with a volunteer in Somalia who had just witnessed a 6-year-old girl die from dehydration after walking 90 miles with her mother in search of water. In this video, Jare makes a case for everyone on social media, that everyone that is on social media, from food to water corporations to airlines, and he was looking if they could find an airline to fill with food and water and send it to Somalia and let these local groups take care of the distribution. Turkish Airlines was the only airline that flew to Somalia. He started a GoFundMe campaign called Love Army for Somalia, challenged viewers to post on social media, hashtag Turkish Airlines Help Somalia, to convince them to use one of their flights to Somalia for immediate relief. The campaign took off. Within days, A-list celebrities like Ben Stiller and Ed Norton, along with other famous athletes, joined the cause. The campaign received $1 million within 24 hours. The average donation was only $28, right? That's some pretty cool stuff. That's some extremely great reach, and social media can do good. I appreciate you guys giving me the time to talk up here. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit of something. Hopefully you laughed at me and my team a little bit. hopefully you'll all give Graham a hard time before we leave. But right now, it's my pleasure to introduce for the first time. Oh, you want to say something first? I'm sorry, Tara. You could have texted me. I would have got it, and we could have coordinated this. Jeez, you put it on my wall. Okay, I'm going to have my device. Does anybody have any questions? What you got?
Couple.
Okay.
Number one, if you follow Gary Vaynerchuk, he says, so I deal a lot with 20 to 40 somethings. That's kind of my target range. He says I've got to be on Instagram and Snapchat.
Sure.
So 2 questions out of that. Number one, is that, because now I'm already operating on 3 social platforms plus LinkedIn, and then so I add 2 more, and it's
almost like you need a company to help you do
you know, when you're sole proprietor, that is a struggle. We'll talk about that. So do you agree with that for 20-somethings you must be on Snapchat?
Yeah, my daughter is 17, and she told me the other day, she goes, Dad, Facebook's for old people.
Yeah, absolutely. You're 30 or older, it's Facebook. And
I was like, man, come on. I thought I was hip and cool, and I'm just not. Yeah, if you're if you want to reach anybody from about 14 to 20 to 24, Snapchat is going to do extremely well for you. Instagram is good for that. Would suggest that Instagram actually is gauging older now. Instagram is a senior in the world of social media now, at being, 6 years old? Oh, this is cool. It's a little more intimate up here. I like this. But I would say that if you want to reach 20-year-olds, you need to be doing Insta stories on Instagram, and you need to be doing Snapchat. If you don't care about reaching people under 40, just stop posting on Facebook. And Twitter has its role and it has a place, but each company and each business model and each organization has different needs and different personas. And so at NewFire, what we do is we help a business owner determine what those are, and that helps us map out what social media platforms that they should be on, and then we help them develop a plan to execute it. And in some cases, we're doing some of the content work, and others we're training and developing a calendar for other people to do it. So, does that help?
that does, yeah.
Cool.
Ross and I talked before your talk.
Good job, Ross. Anybody else have any other questions? Great. I will get to show this off. Ross, are you ready to go, you think? Yeah. It should be down in the bar there.
Riverside Village is an opportunity, I think, for North Augusta to redefine itself.
I describe it as the best place that I've ever lived and worked.
Riverside Village to me is Augusta's entertainment district.
I think that this is really going to be something that is going to set not only North Augusta light years ahead of where they would have been if not. I mean, you're looking at something that probably would have taken, 20, 30 years to get North Augusta to a major city feel.
Well, if you want to be precise, it started in the early 1890s when James Jackson, the founder of the city of North Augusta, master planned this entire city. Most of the people that grew up around here recognize North Augusta as beginning on top of this bluff just off to my left. But everything down here in the river bottom was actually part of the plan then, and actually was part to the extent developed up. Railroad Avenue right here was part of the plan. All these street names were part of the original city's master plan. But because of flooding and so forth, the brick manufacturing plants and so forth all floundered. But then in the middle 20th century, when the dams were built upstream and downstream, the flooding problem ceased to be, and the city knew in the latter part of that century that if they didn't get their arms around this property, which was in private hands at that time, that it was going to become some private gated community or a golf course or something else that would prevent them from having access to the riverfront that was part of their plan to begin with. So that's when the process began that ultimately translated into what we see here today.
I'll never forget, I was 3 months into this job. I started January 2012. I'm 3 months in, March 2012, my phone rings. It's a guy from Atlanta, a developer, and he told me, he said, I'd like to build a resort hotel in North Augusta and a golf course, and I'd like the city to build a conference center, and I want to do it at Exit 5. And I said, well, that's exciting, and I'm interested in that, but you know, I really think if our city participated in something like that, we would do it on our riverfront. And I'll never forget his next question to me. He said, you have a riverfront? And he was down here 2 days later, and the Project Jackson was born.
I'm Jeff Eisman. I'm the president of the Augusta Green Jackets, as well as one of the partners in the Augusta Green Jackets. I've been involved with the team for over 10 years, and previously under Ripken Baseball, but in 2012 we formed Aiken Sports and Entertainment and created a new group to start this endeavor here in North Augusta. This has really been a labor of love. This is something that has been needed for so long. Many people still don't understand why it's needed, but I think once we get people to this site, even while it's under, you know, a third of its construction phase, you can already see how different this is from Lake Olmsted and what this can be and what this will be.
You'll see that behind me and across the street are two great restaurants, which you're aware of. There's another really great restaurant down the street. There's a salon and offices over here. And then in our town center, which we're calling Riverside Village, is a very dynamic town center, which effectively translates into downtown North Augusta, just terminating at the river. And it's going to, and what that means is everything that we have here, all the basic consumer needs, all of the recreational needs, parks. We have a foundation that provides, that's funded not through donations but through transfer fees on properties, which ensures that the arts community is very much ingrained in here. We have an organic farm which provides produce and food to the restaurants. You know, it's everything you need.
Well, the river, you know, is the driving factor to this. I mean, our council, you know, over 25 years ago recognized that this city's asset is that riverfront. And so as they began acquiring that land, I mean, this was the investment that North Augusta was putting in its future. That river just makes people want to be there. You know, I could argue that we could replicate Riverside Village in another place that doesn't have a river, and it's not the same. It's just not. There's something about water, there's something about the peaceful nature of it that people just want, they're drawn to it. And I think it plays a big part into that atmosphere that I think is created down there. It's, you know, this is a retail development. There's going to be people down there, there's going to be cars, but there's a tranquility aspect to it too that I think just draws people. The green space, the parks, you know, it's not necessarily that you have to go down there to shop. I mean, you know, if you go to a mall, you're going there to shop. This is not necessarily to go to Riverside Village. You may just want to go and put out a blanket on the green space by the river and just lay there.
One of the things that they're going to notice just from a Green Jackets perspective is the experience here will be unparalleled. One, all the seating's very intimate. It's all theater style seats with cup holders. We have some very dynamic seating areas in here with the enclosed club space and the suites. But we'll have over $1 million worth of LED display technology in this building that are going to give people a transformational baseball experience or a transformational sporting event experience that they can't get anywhere if they drove 2 hours in any direction. What it means for us is that it's not just the last generations that are going to experience Green Jacket baseball. It means that for many, many generations, your children, your children's children, they're all going to be able to experience not only this ballpark, but seeing professional baseball continue to exist here for hopefully the next 100 years. We don't plan on going anywhere. This is home, and we wanted to build it right and do it right from day one. So this isn't a place where you're like in 20 years, you're scratching your head going, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. This was designed, this is one of the few sports facilities in this metro region that has been designed with the thought of long-term in mind and how we were going to do it. Legacy is extremely important. We wanted to create a place that could have an impact on this community that goes beyond 5 or 10 years. This is something that we're building to make something great here.
If you've listened to some of the interviews with Jeff Eisman, he's talked about it being an event center and not a baseball stadium per se. So his goal and our goal is to help him achieve his goal, and that is to get as many events in there. I mean, you know, you're looking at 80 baseball games a year roughly, maybe a little less, depends on the playoffs and that kind of stuff. But as you've seen, the first baseball game is going to be Georgia versus Clemson. There's already talks of concerts, Masters Week, that are potentially going to happen, and that will continue. And Jeff has talked about everything from ice skating in the winter to just he's got a lot of great ideas, and obviously we've got some ideas to bring to the table, and we want to see that place, you know, having events as much as possible and have it be a true center of the community.
Definitely. I think in a lot of different stadiums you see bigger acts. We don't really have this space besides, you know, Lady A to kind of get those tier 1 type acts. But with a stadium of this caliber and to be able to have, you know, vendors that are in there, restaurants that are in there like us, only makes it easier and more attractive for these acts to come play in Augusta. And I think Greenstone, with their involvement in music with the Georgia Theater or Variety or Terminal West, it's, you know, it's very coincidental that, you know, we're in together with a group that is, you know, doing the project that's involved in music, that Sweetwater's that's involved in music. So I feel like this is this little trifecta that we could all work together and really get some major acts here.
I don't think you could even talk about this project if you didn't talk about the 2 mayors that we've had during this time and our city council. I think you could use this as a model nationally. I mean, our city had a vision, our leaders bought into it, and they were united. And even the folks that weren't united still supported it once they made their ideas and opposition known. And that's what we're lacking in this country right now, the ability to unite after the fact. And I think this has just been a fantastic model of that.
And there it is. That's the new logo for the Riverside Village. I'm very proud of my team that developed that. And if we can give the city of North Augusta, Greenstone Properties, the Green Jackets, and everybody that's worked so hard to get Riverside Village here. And I'd love you guys to give a round of applause to my team for the video that they've done. I'm very proud to be a part of this team. Cam with Reflexio did all of the shooting and edited the video, and he did it in record time. We found out that we needed this about 2 weeks ago, but we were able to put that together, so I'm very proud of my team. The website, riversidevillagesc.com, is launched, and you can go there today, watch the video. We ask you to share it. We got a lot of exciting things happening, and this is one of the first times we've been able to really tell the story and allow the community to see what's coming and to grab a hold of that vision. The YouTube channel is up, all of the social media stuff, so to try to tie it back in there, you guys see what I did with the social media part? Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Tara, Todd, you guys, we'll transition over to Mr. Glover. Thank you guys again. I really appreciate it.